And we're back. Okay, there we go. Showed us hands were all done. So I think hopefully people will have refreshed their image now. So here's what we have for tonight. This is our stream for tonight, chat. The hands were too much. They overpowered. The hand of Wagner. Here we have Encyclopaedia. Encyclopaedia, Eorzea. This is something I've wanted for a while. And I peeped it when Femi and I were in Oxford on Monday. I peeped it, and there were a bunch of Final Fantasy and video game related books, hardbacks, soft covers, paperbacks is the word for that. It's a bunch of manga. Everything's like full priced in that store as well, so it's a pretty penny. We're gonna decorate the keyboard with these little paper cranes that I've been making recently, just as a little source to the stream. Make sure not to show the mini code on stream. Yeah, so I was thinking about like opening it previously, taking the shrink wrap off, hiding the code, but I know if I do that, I'm just gonna start reading it for myself. So, here we go. I'm gonna take the shrink wrap off, and I have to take it off away from the camera. Can you hear that? Is that you're getting some... some shrink wrap noise. Ooh, it feels very nice. So it's not like, it's got a... I wouldn't say plastic, but it's like there's like this matte smoothness to it. Here you go. Here's a little. Wow, look at that. Proper ASMR time, right? Can you hear like the? If I like scrunch the book, you can't really, can you? No. Okay, let's see where that mini code is real quick. Either it's printed in the book or there's like a little slip, so we'll try to find that. Ah, there we go. So it's an item code on the back. There's actually like its own separate pamphlet that's tied to the... It's like bound to the book. So what I'll do is, for me to show this on stream, I would have to be extra stupid. But I'll just put a sticky note there, just in case. So... And I'm sorry for clearing my throat a bunch tonight. I have some water and some tea on the side there. But this is going to be a real pain to read. But we're going to see, we're going to see what we can do for tonight. So on the inside cover, we've got Ishgard here. The bridge and the gate. The Corthan Highlands. And I forget what the bridge is called. Sketchy, you said you're fighting dragons, right? So you should be in Ishgard. Maybe you can tell me, you can remind me what the bridge to Ishgard is called. Ishgard's great. I wish that 14 was made for slightly more powerful hardware. Just to see what the cities would be like. But that's okay. Encyclopaedia Eorzea. Eorzea. If I could do a Louis Soir impression, I absolutely would. So, here is our index. I like the inventory or index, containing the contents of, 8 books touching the past and present of Eorzea. We've got a preface. We've got the first book to do with Hydaelyn. Hydaelyn. Second book is her history, the world I'm assuming. The history of Eorzea, the Empire, yeah. Forgotten Age. The Age of Enlightenment, A Realm Reborn, Heavensward. The third book, Her Children, so that's the races. You're at the end of Vanilla Heavensward, of Base Heavensward, or of Post Heavensward. The fourth book is about the lands. We've got stuff about Limsa, Gridania, Uldar, Ishgard, Sharlayan, Alamigo, the Empire. And then, the fifth part, Her Servants. What is this? The Scions of the Seventh Dawn, the Adventurers Guild, the Ironworks. So a bunch of different groups and clans and organizations. Sixth chapter, Her Disciples. And these are the jobs, okay. Specialized disciplines: Paladin, Monk, Warrior, Dragoon, Bard, Ninja. Both mages: Summoner, Scholar, Dark Knight, Machinist, Astrologer. Her burdens. Ah. The enemies and such? Yeah, we have Ifrit to me, Ifrit! Garuda, Titan, Leviathan, Ramu, good King Moggle, Moggle, good King Mog. Oh, what a bastard. That's going to be stuck in my head all night. For those of you that know, I'm sorry. For those of you that don't know yet, good luck. Good luck. And then the 8th chapter, or the 8th book, Her Creatures. This feels very much like I'm holding a D&D book. Like a Dungeon Master's Guide, or the Monster Guide. I should pull those out again. I really like flicking through those. It's a shame that I don't have any D&D campaign going on recently. And then there's some supplements at the back. The Deck of 60. What is the Deck of 60? Publishments of Eorzea. Whither the keys? Currency and measurements. Onses and pons and yalms and malms. Does feel like a D&D book. Do you own it, Mango? There you go, the preface. And a lovely map of continental Eorzea. So, before we had Endwalker, before we had Endwalker, this continent was called Eorzea, essentially. This entire map that you're seeing was known, I think in-world as well, as Eorzea. Or was it Othard? Either way, the player base called this Eorzea, and what was outside of Eorzea. But the world at large, is Eorzea. It's Atheris is the correct name for the planet, but the lands themselves just kind of get colloquially called Eorzea. You own the 3 encyclopedias. Oh, I want to get them. And you might think, well, Harpy, why are you buying a Final Fantasy XIV book? Don't you hate that game? No. I love 14. Did you see that the tabletop RPG is getting an expansion, Mango? Okay. Let's read the preface. The preface. Preface? How do you say that? Blessed by gods and forged by heroes. Comprised of Oldenard, the westernmost of the 3 great continents and its surrounding islands, the realm of Eorzea has, throughout history, been the cradle of several unique civilizations. Towering mountains dominate the north, their peaks forever lashed with icy winds. To the south, a bleak expanse of unforgiving desert holds sway. Yet these inhospitable lands hold irresistible lure for man and monster alike, for wide and deep flow the currents of ether, and rich are the veins of power infused crystals. This encyclopedia is a labor of love for Eorzea. It is a compilation of knowledge of our forebears, of their histories and legends, of their fables and folktales. It is a chronicle left by those who strove to unlock Eorzea's myriad mysteries, that all who followed might better understand this great realm. It is dedicated to those who call Eorzea their home, and to those who will do so one day. I have my glasses on, but even in this small print it's hard to read. It is dedicated to those who would give their blood to see the realm preserve. It is dedicated to you, the reader, with hope that the knowledge contained within its pages will serve as a guide on our never-ending journey to a better tomorrow. Dream now of a dark tomorrow. So here we have Gridania. We'll read the New Era soon, but this is Gridania. We have Uldar in the southern part of Oldenard here. Just across the little sea, we have Limsa Lominsa and Lenosia as a whole. Up to the north, if you can see it beneath the shadows, is Ishgard, just by the spine of the book. And then I believe Idleshire over here? Because these are like the Dravanian hinterlands, if I'm remembering correctly. But I think that's... I could be misremembering somewhat. It's been a while. The map has been updated since in-game. Over here, you have Alamigo, And between Gridania and Alamigo, there was Baelsar? A huge wall that essentially cut this part of the realm into from the Empire's reach and the part of the continent that wasn't under Imperial rule. We have a new era. In this both harsh and vibrant region, the people of Eorzea have carved out their histories from within a cycle of prosperous astral and disastrous umbral eras. And though the land has but recently emerged from yet another age of decline, the 7th umbral era, the skies remain dark. On the eastern border, the Garlean Empire masses its troop for invasion, while the native beastmen tribes summon their deities, the otherworldly primals. The threats facing Eorzea will not be easily overcome. There you go. That's our little preface. Oh, look, that's lovely. That's a lovely piece of art right there. The brightest burning candle is you. That's you, Warrior of Light. That's you, chat. You. Who do we have here? Oh, it really is. It's a collection of Warriors of Light. It's no any one particular character. You've got a summoner here on the left, from left to right. Summoner, I believe, and then, what is that, a scholar with the top hat? Next to the scholar in the top hat is possibly, I'm not sure, that's just an aura. Perhaps a machinist, maybe? It's hard to make out. That's most certainly a white mage at the bottom here, the cat girl. And then the aura here, not sure. I mean, maybe it's a black mage, possibly. Or a black mage here. That's definitely a machinist, actually. That looks like machinist fit. Or is that a dancer or a bard? Oh, I don't know. Paladin. Elf paladin right there. Another summoner. Oh, so no, yeah. Okay, so it's not all the classes, potentially, but you have a dragoon. That's a warrior fit. The brightest burning candle. The life of an adventurer is the pursuit of fortune and the pursuit of fame. Devotion of oneself to seeking out danger, and glory wherever they may lie. Only the most intrepid and dauntless of souls will endeavour to embark upon such a journey. It is not without warrant, then, to assume it will Let's try again. Let me take a sip. It is not without warrant, then, to assume it will ultimately be an adventurer who steps from the shadows of obscurity to defend Eorzea from those who would see her harmed. That it will be his or her tales of bravery and daring that are sung by bards for ages to come. This adventurer, and every adventurer to have heretofore lived and died in our realm, are the true heroes of this story, Eorzea's story. And then we move to Book 1. Hydaelyn. Ah, Hydaelyn. How's the music, by the way, chat? Is it just loud enough? Is it too loud? Do you want something a bit different? We've got some lo-fi FF14 playing in the background. Music's perfect. Okay. Ooh, see, this is big nerdery. I'm into this already. Basic etherology. I got so into this with Shadowbringers, you would not believe. And this poster here with the astral and the umbral, that you have lightning being tied to more umbral energies, astral energies being tied to wind, ice, fire, that they're all in this great wheel. It's very cool. It's very cool. I'm so into it. I'm going to move the mic a little bit so that I can lean a bit. This text is very small, and it's kind of hard to make out, for me at least. Not only is ether the most basic building block of all creation, but also the life energy upon which the various schools of magic draw. Without knowledge of ether and how it works, scholars would understand significantly less about the world and its inner workings. Life and ether. Within all beings, whether it be man, animal, or even plant, does ether flow. It is the spark which grants life to the lifeless. Conversely, death can be said to occur once ether has left a corporeal object. It is getting actually really difficult to fucking read this book with the text being so small, even with the glasses on. So we're gonna have to hold it up like this and pray that helps my little eyes. Conversely, death can be said to occur once ether has left a corporeal object. From that, it is clear to see why many scholars use the word life and ether interchangeably. It can be assumed that a young man of sound mind and body will possess a high concentration of ethereal energy in his humours, whereas an older man, or one inflicted with corruption, will not. Some scholars have expanded upon this hypothesis, saying that the consumption of food serves not only to fill the belly, but to provide the body with ether lost through exertion. Ether is not by any means static. It constantly flows through creation, forming currents through earth, water, and air, which ensure that life is sustained throughout the world. The stoppage of these currents would be akin to where are we? The stoppage of the stoppage of these currents would be akin to atrophy. Atrophy. It's atrophy, but atrophication of a limb cut off from the heart. It's one of those words you struggle with. Like, I know what the word is, but it's saying it. Atrophication. New word, or a new version of a word we know. Ether is the lifeblood of Heidelin, and without it, she and her children would perish. A gorgeous little... I love the... FF14 loves their big words, and I love it. Do you know that the game is great for expanding, just for flexing a vocabulary? It's really good for you, I think. For me, at least. That's one of the reasons I love the language that they choose in the game. Unless you're speaking to Eorzea, then he can quieten down a little bit, please. I love you, but you talk too much. It's fantastic for making your brain grow a little bigger. The source of all magics. Manipulation of ether is a manner that deviates from its natural tendencies. This is what scholars call magic. The various schools of magic, such as thaumaturgy and conjury, all employ differing methods to achieve this goal. The basic concept is the same. A similar yet more primitive type of ethereal manipulation can also be seen in non-sentient beings. A raptor breathing fire, or a biast? It's one of those fantasy creatures. Gathering a levin-like shock are all examples of lesser-born creatures utilizing the ether within their bodies, or available from nearby environments to hunt or protect themselves from harm. There exist some objects which are believed to toe the line between organic and inorganic, gems being one example. Arcanists tip the scales in favor of life by drawing ether into the stone, the result being creatures known as carbuncles. And you have a little scholar with a carbuncle and a black mage right here. You best believe I almost said dark mage. For those that know. For those that have been around. Ah, the 6 elements, the classic elements. Dark Mage and Black Knight. That's how we like it. Ethereal energies can be divided into 6 distinctive elements. Fire, lightning, water, ice, and earth. These elements provide nature with aspects that govern how they act in the world. For example, Harpy is struggling to read the tiny text again. For example, a region where ethereal currents are aspected towards fire will generally be hotter and drier than a region featuring primarily ice-aspected currents, a region likely to be characterized by frigid climes.
The same can be said for the flora and fauna that populate an area. Seedkin, aspected towards wind, can navigate the skies as if they were winged cloudkin. Scalekin, aspected towards earth, will exhibit lithified skin protecting them from sharp-fanged predators. In addition to the 6 elements, there also exists 2 poles, astral and umbral, which greatly influence the nature of the elements. An astral charge bringing more activity, while an umbral charge resulting in more passiveness. For example, when in an astral state, fire exhibits high volatility, whereas in umbral state, it is characterized by dryness. And then you can see the classic elements. Although I think the classic elements really are fire, wind, lightning, and earth, or it's fire, wind, earth. It's one of these. Water, perhaps? And when I'm talking about the classic elements, it's like the ones that were featured in the very first Final Fantasy. Some of these came later on. Here we go. Here's the inter-elemental relationships. Scholars have long known about the relationships of elements, these characteristics documented in the ancient tome, Essences and what? Essences and Permutations, a treatise of the 6 elements. Hello, lurkers. My favorite classes, Black Knight and Dark Mage. When are they adding Dark Mage? When can I multi-class? When can I take Black Mage spells and Paladin Knight? I mean Dark Mage, here we go. He's already, unironically did that. Black Knight. Is it Black Knight? Dark Knight. Dark Knight. It's Dark Knight. Dark Knight is basically intelligence casting and strength tanking. It's Paladin meets Black Mage. I cannot read that. That is too cursive and too tiny. The 6 somethings and myriad creation. The spark of lightning ignites when it... Oh my goodness. Hold on. I'm going to put this up real close to my face. The spark of lightning ignifies when it strikes... When it... Okay, yeah. Oh, Christ. The spark of lightning ignifies when it strikes, and thus fire is born. The beat of fire renders to... never mind. I don't know if it's any Eorzean text, but that is ineligible to me, so we will have to worry about that some other time. Oh, dude, look at that. I like that there's some unique art in this book. It's very pretty. It's very pretty. It's going to be an absolute treat to just oogle at. Off-stream. Crystals. So instead of me reading 200 pages back to back, after a while we're going to flick through the index. We're going to go back to the index and then flick through and read some things that sound good. We are going to read about crystals, possibly the Twin Realms, certainly Hydaelyn, the Ethereal Sea, and Primals, and then we'll start to sort of flick through what else we have. Oh, Mercidia, dude, I have got to read about Mercidia. Crystals. When a living entity dies, the ether remaining will normally leave the body and return to the world's ethereal currents, known as the life stream. When a living entity, however, experiences death-inducing trauma, such as a mortal wound in battle, the resulting sudden release of its most heavily aspected life energy will oftentimes manifest corporeally before it can return to the life stream. A phenomenon we know as crystals. This can also occur when a wound is dealt to the very land itself, and is a reason why crystals deposits are found throughout the land at all. The elemental aspect of the energy trapped in these crystals can be harnessed and used in a myriad of manners. Applying fire crystals to a forge can increase its internal temperature, assisting in the smelting of ores. The cooling properties of an ice crystal can assist a grocer in maintaining the freshness of meat or produce. That said, due to the extreme concentration of aspected ether within a crystal, direct consumption of a crystal by a living being can severely alter the ethereal balance within the body, ultimately resulting in severe injury or even death. So this, can I tell you right now, having played 16, some of these ideas have definitely carried over somewhat to 16. The idea about people just using crystals in everyday life is a main point of FF16's world building. About eating the crystals as well, that's something that happens to a character in 16. That's very cool. That hasn't happened in 14 to my knowledge. It would be very cool to see an enemy do something similar. I'd be into that. That's fun. If it's such a danger, I mean, you're eating rocks. You're eating like gemstones. That's not good for your tummy anyway. But something that's got an iron stomach, or is already quite ethereally charged, chomping down on a couple crystals would be an interesting phase too. And what about the twin realms? Etherologists believe that existence occurs on two separate but overlapping planes. The corporeal realm, or realm consisting of objects with basic physical properties, and the ethereal realm, more namely, a realm without substance but containing the essence of all creation. When an item in the corporeal realm dies, or is destroyed, its ether passes back. Its ether passes back where, Harpy? You've lost your line. Its ether passes back into the ever-flowing currents of the ethereal realm, sometimes referred to by the layman as the life stream. When something new is born in the corporeal realm, it is granted life with energy from the life stream. Thus, a natural balance is maintained between the two worlds. Rock candy is very hard to chow down on. Crystals would be a challenge, right? But it's doable. They didn't say you can't do it. It's just a challenge. As was stated above... Oh, I haven't finished reading. Hold on. Whoops. I missed this most important paragraph here. Well, I only know one character in video games that eats rocks, and it's kind of canonical, but also a joke, is Link from Breath of the Wild. The Gorons in that world essentially eat rocks, and there's some rocks that look like meat, like Flintstones kind of food. And canonically, Link has eaten rocks, or rock meat. So get that boy in here, get that boy in Eorzea to chomp on some rocks. When is a character or an enemy going to eat a soul stone, a job crystal? If a job crystal, a soul stone, is said to contain the experience of previous adventurers and warriors and people of that job, what would happen if you ate one? Or if you broke it and consumed its essence? What would happen to you? I want a 200-word short story. By the way, I would love to read some short stories based on some video game thing. I might do that one day. A couple of years ago, I tossed around the idea of doing something similar. But how to motivate people? It's usually this that motivates people. So... I haven't read this. God damn it. Each plane... I want to read about Heidelin. Each plane exerts influence on the other, the proximity of the two determining the scope of their influence. In places of close proximity, the ethereal plane exerts a great amount of influence on the corporeal. The corporeal... and vice versa. Oh, Jesus. It's getting small again. The corporeal plane benefits from this proximity and growth. Conversely, you've missed another line. Let's try again. The corporeal plane benefits from the proximity by becoming rich in ambient ether, something that promotes life and growth. Conversely, locations where there is distance between the corporeal and ethereal planes, are thought to suffer from harsh climes and be characteristically void of life. If, for some reason, one plane were to become irreparably damaged, the other would also suffer, leading to the eventual collapse of both. Whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean, whoa, whoa, whoa? What's going on? Ah, Heidelin. The sussy hand gesture? What do you mean? That's money. That's a hand gesture for money. What is that to you? You rub your fingers together because that's money. Mango, you're too much of a gooner. You've been online too much. Oh, I'm always sussy to you. That's not true. I can be normal. Heidelin. Some scholars in the field of etherology further believe that somewhere deep beneath the land slumbers a massive concentration of ethereal life energy. These etherologists refer to this phenomena as the mother crystal. Still, some take this hypothesis one step further, stating that the existence of a mother crystal proves that the planet itself is alive and represents a heretofore unclassified biological entity. To support this theory, they point to the oracle and heroes of ancient history who claim unexplainable visions of the future or unnatural strength to overcome impossible odds. The scholars believe that this is through these visions. The scholars believe that it is through these visions that the planet is conveying messages to those she entreats to aid her, with the reoccurring themes of Heidelin's will, or the will of light, which appear in the myths and folklore of seemingly unrelated civilizations as proof of this belief. Why am I always being called a gooner? Because sometimes stereotypes are based in some truth sometimes. We know what the internet... We know your personalized ads. Cannot believe you'd say that. Well, if Harpy hates video games, Mango's a gooner. What's Pulse and Femi and Sketchy? What's Sasso? Sasso's the goblin. She's the unhinged, deranged one. The ethereal sea, Mango. Well, I know what Sketchy is. I've seen those Sims screenshots. A focal point of Sharlayan academia has forever been to understand and predict Heidelin's fate. One intriguing fact that their scholars have uncovered is that the deeper into the planet's core one ventures, the more blurred the border between the corporeal and ethereal realms become, leading etherologists to believe that if one were to travel deep enough, that they may be able to witness and examine the ethereal realm while maintaining their corporeal form. An attempt by the Sharlayans to test their hypothesis was put into motion with the construction of the anti-tower near the Sharlayan city-state in the Dravanian hinterlands. Built deep beneath the surface of Heidelin, the tower focuses ether into powerful magics which pried open a window to the ethereal realm, giving mankind its first ever view into the pleroma and beyond. That is a word I've never seen before, pleroma. Direct contact with the Mother Crystal was the first step in Sharlayan's research before the scholars were forced to flee Eorzea following the Gallian Empire's invasion of the realm. That is the burden you have to bear, Sketchy. If my burnt bread is my cross to carry, then we all equally have something to make fun of in the group. Okay, here's a good one. The primals. Forget about your ankles, it was one video. One video that you recorded, but many countless nights that you spent playing Sims like that. No doubt. Why am I getting... don't know what has happened to Instagram, but I'm starting to just get random notifications from the app again, where it's like, hey, this random person you don't follow or know has shared a post you might like. Well, actually, no, I don't like it. I don't know who they are. Go away. Here we go. Primals. Fantastic little bit here. We've got Bahamut in a very different art style. Odin, Leviathan, a Phoenix, Titan, Ramu, Shiva. Maybe that's Garuda in bird form, because it's a little harpy. I love this. I've never seen this piece of artwork before. Perhaps not the easiest thing to see on camera. Arcanists have devised methods of tapping into their own ethereal energy to create semi-sentient yet fully loyal familiars. This, however, is not the sole method available for drawing forth an animate being from the ether. A second method involving the combining of corporeal ethereal energy, usually amassed in crystalline form, with spiritual ethereal energy, usually has, in recent years... Am I missing another... Yeah, here we go. I'm missing another line. Usually represented in the form of faith, prayer, or willpower, in an elaborate summoning ceremony has, in recent years, grown increasingly common amongst the beast tribes of Eorzea. Using this method, powerful godlike beings known as primals can be brought to manifest. I've lost my page again. Lost my line. Allowing them the opportunity to enforce their will on the land. The name primal is derived from the beast tribe's belief that these creatures are deities from which their peoples originate. In addition to primal, the beings have historically also been known as icons by both the Allagan and Garlean Empire, who were adamant in their dismissal of their creature's deific status. Once a primal has gained a corporeal form, the creature will oft, as a boon, offer protection to or empower those who summoned it. With corporeal manifestation complete, a primal can also project its own internal ether upon other weak-minded beings, corrupting their hearts and their minds, effectively creating obedient followers. This tempering can prove a primal's greatest weapon, meaning even a victory against one of the creatures will not be had without great sacrifice. And even these victories are short-lived, as once enough crystals are gathered and another ceremony performed, the demigod can be resummoned as if it were never defeated. Finally, in addition to the chaos wrought by the beings themselves, the very act of summoning can have adverse effects on the land. The ether required in summoning and maintaining the creature's corporeal form will, without fail, draw overmuch from the surrounding environment's life energy, running once lush areas into wastelands and disrupting the very balance of the world itself. Here we go, we've got a little addendum to this picture here, this diagram. What is it, art piece? In the years leading up to, as well as those directly following the calamity, a great number of primals were repeatedly summoned by the Eorzean beast tribes in desperation to protect their peoples from the Garlean Empire. Some believe that this, coupled with the general resurgence of beast tribe activity, are why the realm still remains in a state of disarray. If you play some Shadowbringers and Stormblood, you might learn a thing or two. You know, let's read the bit about tempering as well. Those tempered by a primal eventually lose nearly the entirety of their wills, leaving only shells that bend to the whim of the beast who hollowed them. Men in this state will give their own lives as easily as they would their names if it is but the wish of their new master. Not only do these mindless followers provide a formidable army, but also provide the faith needed to resummon a primal. Should the being ever lose its corporeal form, that is. Countless attempts, both magical and scientific, have been made to restore a tempered mind to its original state. However, all have ended in failure, the only known cure for this manner of ethereal brainwashing being death. While even a single exposure to a primal's ether can tear apart a victim's mind, multiple exposures can lead to an eventual degradation and transformation of his body. Leviathan's drowned followers have been reported to exhibit physical features more commonly associated with wavekin, while Ramu's touched sylphs grow extended beards. Proof of this final claim is, at the current moment, severely lacking. See, they even have, look at that, the little asterisks here, they've still got some of their comedy. It's well, this is speculatory. Here's one to read. Here's what I thought before Dawntrail was announced. I was really hoping we would see Mericidia. It's the home of the dragons, or their birthplace, at least, that we have known of, that we've been told about. So, let's read a little bit about Mericidia. Far to the south of the three great continents, beyond the equatorial line, lies the second of Heidelin's three landmasses, Mericidia. 5 millennia ago, at the close of the third astral age, the Allegan Empire, unsatisfied with controlling merely Oldenard, Ilzabard, and Othard, set their sights to the south and began an invasion that would end with nearly the entire continent being rendered a wasteland. While some areas remain uninhabitable even today, those which have been repopulated remain recluse and very rarely welcome contact with the civilization of the Northern Hemisphere, oftentimes attacking any who would approach, whether it be by sea or by air. Because of this, very little of the region is known, including even the most basic of geographical information. And then the New World. This is where Dawntrail takes place, mostly. Of which, when this was published, we didn't know anything about. But I'm sure they knew something about, the people writing this book. The final of Heidelin's three major landmasses lies far to the west of Eorzea, beyond the boundless ocean known as the Indigo Deep. Despite the dearth of ancient epics and historical tomes to support the land's existence, as recently as 80 years ago, it was debated whether or not the place was naught more than merely literary exaggeration. That is until a sea-wolf adventurer hailing from Limsa Lominsa, known as Kettenram the Blue, rediscovered the region upon sailing west for nigh 2 moons straight. Notwithstanding the sailors' repeated attempts to name the region Kettenland, the New World remains the term most commonly used today. I've lost my line again. Not only did Kettenram and his crew discover the landmass, but they also spent several moons exploring inland, eventually encountering the denizens of the sprawling nation of Mamulja. Kettenram was even granted audience with the nation's supreme leader, to whom he presented various gifts from his Eorzean home. These rare gifts impressed the leader so much that he presented him with a massive idol forged from pure silver, as well as allowance to roam free about his nation during their stay. Kettenram used this opportunity not only to map the land, but to gather myriad root vegetables and seeds to carry back to Limsa Lominsa. Many staples in modern-day Eorzean diets, such as ogre pumpkins, ruby tomatoes, potpotos, and alligator pears, were all transplants from the New World. While distance prevents much modern-day interaction between the New World and Eorzea, recent years have seen an influx of Mamulja mercenaries making the trip from their homeland to make profits from the unrest in the east. And then, oh yes, good page turn here. Fantastic artwork. We've got stuff about Zodiac and the Asians. We will talk later. Asian. I'm gonna have a little drink now. Okay. That was a much needed drink. Hydaelyn and Zodiac. Tell you what, playing Shadowbringers, the mystery surrounding both Hydaelyn and Zodiac were tantalizing. They were, tell you how much I wanted to know more. That was the main thing I was after. It's so interesting. Shadowbringers is peak. For thousands of years, Eorzea has experienced a repeated cycle of devastation known as the Umbral Eras, and prosperity, called Astral Eras. Recent revelations have shown that this may be a result of a deep-seated conflict between the will of light, Hydaelyn, and the will of darkness, Zodiac. More on the eras. Eorzea has been defined by its periods of growth and prosperity, wherein civilizations have risen and thrived until being brought down by terrible disasters known as calamities, which in turn bring upon ages of darkness known as umbral eras. The most recent calamity occurred a mere 5 years past, and constricted a night. Let's try again. The most recent calamity occurred a mere 5 years past, and constituted a night of destruction which ushered in a period of chaos and uncertainty known as the 7th Umbral Era. This calamity was a result of the fall of Hydaelyn's lesser moon Dalamud. In the 1572nd year of the 6th Astral Era. Upon the satellite's arrival above the Cartano Flats in central Eorzea, it split apart, revealing the elder primal Bahamut, who, in a fit of incoherent anger, laid waste to anything and everything around him. Up until Dalamud's fall, many 6th Astral Era scholars convinced themselves that the fact that there had been 6 calamities, each representing one of the 6 elements, was proof that there could not be a 7th, and that the 6th Astral Era would last indefinitely. However, subsequent study of Garlean Empire Legatus Nail... we're going in with the Eorzean Latin. However, subsequent study of Garlean Empire Legatus Nail Van Darnas's Meteor project would eventually lead these scholars to conclude that the attack by Bahamut was indeed a calamity, though one not represented by any one of the elements, but rather consisting of all the elements charged astrally. Following much deliberation between scholars and the ruling parties of each of the 4 Eorzean city-states, the consensus was finally made to deem the years following Bahamut's advent the 7th Umbral Era. And then we have Asians here, a very intriguing shadow council, who are kind of pointless. They're just there to egg you on in base game and in 2.0 in A Realm Reborn. They don't really have much going on for them, to be honest. They weren't really written to have much going on for them. They were these shadowy beings that were there just to kind of advance you along, to throw some chaos into the mix. Throughout Eorzean history, whether it be in folklore or myth, there has been mention of a dark, shadowless... This is getting ridiculous. I need even stronger reading glasses. Throughout Eorzean history, whether it be in folklore or myth, there has been mention of dark, shadowless figures known as Ascians, who, with their twisted words, would incite strife between peoples. Most recently teaching the beast tribes of Eorzea how to summon primals and essentially igniting a war spanning multiple continents. According to recent research by the Scions of the Seventh Dawn, there is proof that the calamities once believed to be natural occurrences were actually triggered by the crooked schemings of the Ascians in an attempt to bring about a phenomenon known as the rejoining, a form of dimensional compression desired by their deity, Zodiac. You have a little idol here, a figure of Zodiac. Do you know what would be fantastic pendants or earrings? Would be a Zodiac idol. The Zodiac being very dark, like umbral vibe is cool. It's purple and red and like a little blue. I would wear a little Zodiac earring or a pendant. That's where Harpy's original server as well as Zodiac. So, and with lore of the world and Eorzea and how things come to be and how your character plays a part in the story, I find it to be such a wonderful coincidence for my own little headcanon and my own Warrior of Light. I dig it. Speaking of my Warrior of Light, let's read a section about the Warriors of Light, shall we? In the moons before the calamity struck and ushered in the 7th Umbral Era, Eorzea saw the rise of unlikely heroes who took upon their blades to stave off impending doom. However, despite their countless deeds, the names and faces of those brave men and women have been mysteriously erased from the minds of Eorzeans, all that remains being a searing white brilliance that blinds us from memory. All that remains being a searing white brilliance that blinds us from memories that should exist. These shades have since been dubbed the Warriors of Light. And while their identities may never be fully known by most, their deeds will live on in legend for all eternity. The Echo. Okay, we're going to get to something that's been hastily written out of the story for reasons. You can agree with it, you cannot agree with it. I will say, the Echo is just a convenience now more than ever in the game. It had some story importance, and it had some things going on. However, the Echo that you experience in 14 is a shadow of its original concept. 1.0 had the Echo, and it was an incredible little narrative device. I'm going to tell you, because none of you are playing 1.0, you can't play it, it's impossible to play. But the Echo, you wouldn't know, really, at the time you were living through the past, or you were living through a vision, or anything like that. For you, the Echo was happening right at that very moment. You couldn't really tell until you got out of it. But you would experience in 1.0, what would happen in some of the story was you were experiencing something that had happened in the past. You didn't know that at the time, and you just thought it was part of your adventure. You later come to learn that the Echo does that you can see into the past. You might be saying, well, how is that? What happens in the story? In 1.0, you experience a piece of the past wherein Minfilia's parents die, or they've already passed away, and you see a young Minfilia. You later come to realize that the Minfilia you've been speaking to was that child in the vision that you were playing through, and you were playing through it, right? You go, oh, that child is the Minfilia in front of me. It's very cool. And so the Echo you have in 2.0 and beyond is a pale reflection of that, and even more watered down in current FF14. I get why they would want to write it out, because it gives you a chance for a different narrative opportunities, and with what happens in the story, it kind of makes sense with who your patron is, who is giving you this extra power. I understand why it would be gone, but the original concept for the Echo is really fascinating. So, who were these warriors of light who led Eorzea back from the precipice of destruction? Study of ancient documents, from musty tomes to wall carvings, show us that they are not unique to the 6th astral era, and that similar heroes have appeared before every calamity to ensure mankind endures. For example, before the Great Flood which marked the end of the 5th astral era, legend tells us of the 12 Archons who descended on Eorzea to warn its denizens of the rising waters. There are also tales from the Near East which follow the exploits of a great warrior known as the Zodiac Braves. Warriors whose appearance also happens to coincide with the past calamity. What then ties these legendary figures with the warriors of light who emerged but 5 summers past? One answer might be the Mother Crystal and the power she is hypothesized as providing to those of her choosing. Eorzean myth is full of tales of heroes who have been granted seemingly otherworldly powers. While much of this can be attributed to embellishments by bards looking to add spice to their honeyed tales of sword and sorcery, might it be that these tales also speak some truth, as the powers which they describe are often similar to the ones documented by the Scions of the Seventh Dawn as being experienced by those few who have had contact with Hydaelyn? This power, known as the Echo, comes in many forms, several of which are listed below. The power to transcend words. Those blessed with the power to transcend words, language no longer possesses a barrier to interactional communication. Voiced utterances fade and are replaced by an internal understanding of another's intentions. Conversely, words spoken by one with this power are immediately understood by all, without need for linguistic interpretation. And you will find that immediately apparent with certain beast tribes, but mostly with dragons when you're going through Ishgard and Dravania. That's when it's most apparent. I'm gonna take that loop larynx now. Also, we have an ad starting in about 3 minutes. We're going to continue on to the powers of the Echo. The power to transcend time. Those granted with this form of Echo can mentally travel back in time to witness occurrences experienced by another. It was originally thought that proximity with the memory holder was necessary for this transcendent. Christ, I can't read this word. It was originally thought that proximity with the memory holder was necessary for this transcension. However, it has recently been discovered that residual mnemonic. Christ. However, it has recently been discovered that residual mnemonic ether lingering in a location can also trigger these third-person flashbacks. And then the power to transcend worlds. Though rare, there have also been cases reported of individuals through the manifestation of Hydaelyn's very light, can walk the ethereal plane and communicate directly with the planet herself. And we have the blessing of light, that accursed blessing of light that the Ascians hate so much. Check that out, a little warrior of light right there, brandishing their weapon of light, about to strike down an Ascian, which actually takes place at the end of the game, at the end of base game 2.0. The blessing of light. If recollections of self-proclaimed heroes are to be believed, Hydaelyn will often attempt to make contact with those who possess the Echo, sometimes in the form of a voice, other times in the form of a vision, and still other times in the form of enchanted senses or protective barriers to shield against powerful magics. These boons have been called blessings of light, yet despite their frequency, little is known about them. However, it is assumed that many of these miracles which appear in myth and legend are actually instances of Heidelin bestowing her blessing upon an individual.
Oh yes, my favourite little group of boys. My favourite boy right here. Disgusting, actually. I'm repulsed by how pretty Thaliak was made. How dare he? He's meant to be the intelligent, scholarly one. Why did it? How is he so fucking damn pretty? Tell me. And why am I not that pretty? That's a pretty boy. Oshon as well. Not bad looking. Here we go. My favourite little band of gods.
The 12. Eorzea, a land loved by gods and forged by heroes. The gods of which this epitaph speaks are the 12, the pillars upon which religious faith in Eorzea firmly rests. The 12's worship. Belief in the 12, a pantheon of gods and goddesses, each represented by one of the 6 elements upon which all creation is founded, has served as a cornerstone for civilization in Eorzea for millennia. Though theologians remain unsure of the exact origins of the 12 worship, although theologians remain unsure of the exact origins of 12 worship in Eorzea, studies of relics from Allegan civilization tell us that even 5,000 years ago, at the peak of the Third Astral Era, the 6 deities were already ingrained in society, as they are today. Not only is the year divided into 12, and the 12-year cycle used in modern astrology... No, let's try that one again. Not only is the year divided into 12, and the 12-year cycles used in modern astrology, city-states still choose a patron deity to serve as a guardian over their lands, with that deity becoming a focal point of cultural development, such as the case with Nulth Thal and the economical inclined Uldans. Sometimes people from certain races or professions will choose to focus their worship on a single deity. Many Mikote of the Seekers of the Sun clan will follow teachings of Azima, the warden and goddess of sun. No, she's the warden of goddess and sun. Reading comprehension, not great when you're a bit stupid. Sailors will often pray to Limlane, watcher of sea and goddess of navigation, to see their ships safely to port, and artisans will pray to Byragot to guide their hand. Byragot the Builder. Bob the Builder. I'm gonna have to take my glasses off, briefly. Because glasses, coupled with the headset, do not make for a comfy wear. So, you've deigned to fight Byragot the Builder. Oh, wonderful. My headset ear cups have come off because I replaced them today. That's fun. You know, it might be a snazzy time to take a little breaksy. To check in on you, chat, to see how you're doing. Why don't you tell me how you're doing, chat? How are you feeling so far? Is it relaxing in any way? Is it good background noise? Feedback is probably pretty handy right about now. To know what the sounds are like. While I try to fiddle around with this ear cup and get it clipped back on in a correct way. It just does not want to. It doesn't want to sit there properly. If I was drawing, this would be great background too. Oh, cool. You said good, not great. That's the harpy reading comprehension coming in again. Do you know, I looked up the other night. I looked up dyslexia. Like, these are some common things that people with dyslexia suffer with. And like one or two of them, like, yes, that's me, but not enough for it to be like actually worth. I don't know. Maybe it would be funny as a stream idea, you know, like Harpy takes a dyslexia test. Let's find out if he's really like if he's actually dyslexic or just a bit stupid. Though generally, it's just a one-off thing, right? It's not a constant thing. I think that's why it's like it's more of a joke than it actually is a thing. Because if it was every single time, then we'd have a problem, right? But instead, here we are. That's what I find fascinating. I can read an entire paragraph with no slip-ups and it can be smooth as butter. And then I can't even get through 2 sentences without fucking up. Do you know, we are going to take a proper break. We're going to put a little pin in this while I go grab a warm cup of something to drink. But what to use as a bookmark? Well, why not use a little peace grain and then select some new music. Oh. 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 I'm going to get a warm drink. What? I'm not pissing. I would never do that. I'm a being of pure. I'm a pure-hearted being. What? Okay, I'll be RP. Thanks for sticking around if you're still here. We've some more to read. We have to read about the 12 and some of my favorite boys and girls. So let's put our little origami fellas back in the background. Yeah, that's cute. We'll put you there. We'll put you over yonder. And then we'll put this big boy. This big boy. You're alright, boy. You're a good boy. Oop. I have a cup of Earl Grey tea. I'm very dignified like that. Alrighty. Where shall we start? Well, I know where we're going to start. We're going to start with my favorite boy. He's my patron saint. And whenever I would do any sort of RP in character, I like that my boy kind of uses... You know how you say, oh, Jesus Christ, or oh, for Christ's sake. Developed my own little RP thing for Ralga. For my grumpy little rabbit boy. So, let's learn a little bit about Ralga the Destroyer. Ralga, Breaker of Worlds, is the god of destruction and guardian deity of the now fallen nation of Alamigo. He commands the element of lightning and is associated with the 8th moon of the Eorzean calendar. Ralga is the father of both Byragot and Halone, and serves as attendant to Nemir. He is often depicted as a magi carrying a staff of bronze. His symbol is the streaking meteor. And then how about Nothika? Nothika the matron. I tried to recently find an in-game illustration of Nothika, but since the whole raid series with the 12, it's been very hard to find the illustration I'm looking for. Nothika the matron, Nothika. Oh, sorry, just knocked you. Nothika, tender of soils and harvests and goddess of abundance, is the guardian deity of Gridania. She commands the elements of earth and is associated with the 11th moon of the Eorzean calendar. Nothika is daughter of Azima and the younger sister of Limlane. She is most often depicted as a jubilant farmer holding a scythe of steel. Her symbol? A spring leaf. Proper sprout. But who else intrigues me? Where's our Minfina the lover? Minfina is keeper of the twin moons and the goddess of love. She commands the element of ice and is associated with the 2nd moon of the Eorzean calendar. Minfina is the sister of Azima and the divine lover of Oshon. She's most often depicted as a maid carrying a round skillet. Is she now? Her symbol? The full moon. And as you can see in the little corner there is the moon's satellite, the lesser moon, Dalamud. We'll save some of the rest for another time. Just because I really like the 12. The 12 are fun. Oh, we're getting into tarots now. Brother. I've just seen the... Oh yes. The hells and the heavens. Creation. Now what is all this malarkey? Creation myth in Eorzea has taken on countless forms over the ages. One prominent astrologer and theologian, Lufon of Charlian, has spent his academic career studying the overlap in these renditions and has compiled what he claims is the definitive tale. Oh, this is a character I've never heard about before. In the beginning, there was neither light nor darkness. only the whirl. And it was not until Ulfric emerged. I'm gonna have to put the glasses on for this. And maybe we have a sip of tea as well to go with it. Do you know what I think it's time for as well? Well, that is a warming sip of tea. Chat, I need your help. We need to put a sticker. New sticker needs to go here. New desk sticker. Let me get rid of that stray hair of mine that's sitting on the desk. We need a new sticker here. In this spot. So you tell me, chat. Do we go with bunny-eared, boba drinking, water Kirby? Do we go with content boba drinking Kirby? Do we go with a DDD holding a weird yo-yo Kirby or a Macron? Or do we go with the ever-loving, heart-holding Kirby? Mango, my piss apprentice, thank you for my welcome back. You want the life ring, Kirby? Yellow Kirby? Well, that's a DD. A DDD. Not a yellow. That's not a yellow Kirby. As Mango answered first, and he got the name right. I even said DDD. Oh, honestly, just can't get the help these days. Tell you what, if I can get the backing off of this sticker, we might have neither. Neither will be added. I kind of really want someone to randomly just pop in right now and to see the stickers and not think about the fact that they're not stuck on, because you can see the shadowing, and to think that I've just started to bastardize, to deface the Encyclopaedia Eorzea. Like, dude, why have you put Kirby stickers on there? Because I want to yassify it. My cousin, my nephew came in, put these stickers on. I think they're pretty cute. I really am struggling to get the backing of this sticker off. I say that and I just started peeling it back. What are the chances, eh? Oh, Christ. Oh, that's a sticky little feller. You're a sticky little feller, ain't you? I'm off to bed early tonight, Ops. No! You don't want to listen to the ASMRpy? The ASMRpy. The ASMRpy. Well, it's because I've done such a good job of lulling you to sleep, huh? What time is it? It's 10:30. Oh. Let it go. Just let it go. I want to, but I've had a tough week at work, so the first one either. Of course, Megan. Have a good rest, my man. Don't let me keep you. Hopefully the end of your week is not so bad. So rest up, my friend, and yeah. Hopefully the rest of the week treats you better. Good night. Touch wood, right? Fingers crossed for you. Trying to get this backing off of this other sticker, dude. It's not easy. Let it go. Can you believe it? And can you Jeffin believe it? He's been a real pain in my backside, this pink Kirby, this purple Kirby fella. How do they do it? I wonder, how do these master stickerers, how do they manage to put so many stickers down? We asked the chat. You can't be lurking if you're asking a question for me. I asked the chat
what Kirby they wanted stuck down on the desk.
Because it was about time that we had a new sticker put down, so these ones go away for another time. From heavens above and house temple on those waters. Thank you for letting me know, Sketchy. Far beyond. Gotta pet the little Mac DeMarco over here. He's doing well. You know, we're just gonna read about the heaven and hells. Every god and goddess of the 12 is associated with one of the 6 controlling elements. When the deities deemed their work on Eorzea complete, they proceeded to create the firmament, the result being 6 astrally aligned heavens, aspected to each of the 6 elements, and a final 7th heaven to rule them all. However, a residual product of these heavens were 6 similarly aspected hells, ruled by an all-encompassing, umbrally aligned 7th hell. The 6 lower heavens are represented in the sky by 6 constellations, star formations which astrologians also perceive as gates that, when opened, can allow a person to become attuned with the heavens and manipulate their ether. These constellations revolve around the pole star, which is believed to be the gate of the 7th and final heaven. While some sects of 12 worship have different views of the afterlife, most believe that the righteous are promised a place in the heavens, while sinners are doomed to an eternity of punishment, of punishing trials in the hells. Belief made popular by a famous theologian and playwright of the 6th astral era that upon an evil man's death he will fall to a hell that corresponds to the sins he committed in his lifetime. Once suffering an eternity in payment for these sins, he must journey through the remaining 5 upper hells and witness the sins of his brothers, before finally arriving at the gate of the 7th hell, where his heart will be weighed. If it is heavy with sorrow and repentance for what he has done, he will be sent to the heavens. But if it remains light, he will be admitted to the 7th hell, where he will suffer forevermore. And then you have these cool... these are the constellations that are a big part of the astrologian job class, and just the lore surrounding it. But essentially you have Azima's fire, Thaliak's water, Oshon's wind, Halone's ice, the heaven of lightning, which would be Ralga's, and then the heaven of earth, although this should be, Nofika, the matron. 6 tarots corresponding to 6. Well, they all do different things in-game. They've changed over the years as well. So, for example, let's take the hell and heaven of earth. To create the heaven of earth, Nofika planted a single sapling which Thaliak instantly coaxed to maturity by bending time itself. Under this mighty sentinel's bows sits farmers and naturalists, historians and archaeologists. Leaves fallen from the tree and left to rot in the pit. Sorry, let me try again. My eyes are failing me tonight. Leaves fallen from the tree and left to rot in the pit are what create the hell of earth. Here lie buried thieves and defilers of nature, liars and revisionists. Ooh, I didn't know that. I'm learning stuff. I'm liking it. The hell and heaven of lightning. In the heaven of lightning, one will find a towering clockwork spire built by Byragot, with metal forged from a comet and powered by Ralga's Levin bolts. Here rest engineers, architects, revolutionaries and conquerors of evil. Levin-charged fragments of the comet plummet to to the pit to form the Hell of Lightning, a place where damnation for vandals, slumlords, and warmongers. How about one for Halone? Halone is like the god of war, almost. The Hell and Heaven of Ice. In the center of this heaven rises a lofty palace of ice, ice made of frozen moonbeams and carved from the Fury's own spear. The Fury is another name for Halone. Here reside epic heroes and gallant knights, the benevolent and the faithful. From Halone's gelid palace do piercing icicles plummet to the pit, creating the hell of ice. Here suffer cowards, deserters, and adulterers. Then we have some currencies. Here's a fun one if you're going to be playing the game and you're like, what the fuck are they talking about? The measurements and weights are just basically pounds and ounces. Miles and yards just changed slightly. So, you have units. You have one ilm. An adult Hylian thumb, a ripe ronberry. An ilm, tiny teeny, like an inch I think. A fulm, one fulm. There's 12 inches to a fulm, so it's inch, feet, yards, miles, but it's ilm, fulm, yalm, malm. So 12 ilms create a fulm. An adult Hyrian foot. Wow, I've never seen it written like that. A grown chocobo tail feather. One yalm, or rather 3 yalms. No, oh Christ. 3 fulms is a yalm. A bastard sword blade. An adult Lalafelian male. Tiny motherfuckers, essentially. And then, of course, 1,760 yalms makes a malm. The distance of an adult Elizan can run in a 10th bell, the approximate height of Ogomoro. I don't know what that is. Ogomoro. And then we have units of measurement. An ons. An ons apparently weighs a Hyrian, a Huron thumb weighs an ons, which is an ounce. A 100 gil coin is an ounce. 16 onzes for a pons. It's a merchant's scale stone, a block of curacao butter. 2,000 ponces creates a tons. A fully matured gubu. Oh my god, that's a heavy boy. He actually weighs a metric ton. Well, not a metric ton, but he weighs an Eorzean ton. 600 bottles of wine port red. Oh, it's one standard overseas shipment. 600 bottles of wine port red is a tons, apparently. And then we have her history. I love the feel of this book, by the way. Oh, I fucking love it. Do you know what we'll do? Oh my god, it speaks on the umbral calamities. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to read that another time. I'm super interested in that. Maybe we can do something a little bit more short, sharp, fun. Like job systems. $216, or rather 215. We have the races, Lalafell. Besides that, I wonder who's next. Mikote. They get a 2 full-page spread on the races. That's pretty cool. The 2 races, the Edgelord and the average RF, and the average FF14 Arpia, Earpia. The Scions of the Seventh Dawn. Louis Soir Lavalier. Likely the greatest mage of his day, Louis Soir Lavalier was a Charlian Archon who was well versed in ancient prophecies. It is also said He delighted in tinkering with magic items, and that his partiality to decadent sweets such as marron glace did not dim his wants. What did they? Christ alive. Yep, we're gonna have to save more reading for. I can feel my brain is dying, so we're gonna have to do reading another time. Here we go. Her disciplines. Oh my god, we have the warrior. Oh, dude. That's so cool. Got one about Ardbert. Oh, Ardbert. Oh, Ardbert. Specialized disciplines. In recent years, adventurers have begun exploring specialized forms of combat, including arts both new and newly rediscovered. The following sections seek to explore these alternative practices and the manner in which they differ from the more established adventuring professions. There's a lot of words in not the greatest font size. It's very small. It's like 9 font size. It's so small. If this is my thumb, I've got a pretty average fucking thumb. Covering like 5 lines. The title is too big, of course. And the subtitles, much too big. But I'm also foot and a half away, maybe 2, from the text. Like if I, from here to... Well, I didn't really do a good job of showing you, did it? Soul crystals. Ever since the height of the Allegan Empire in the Third Astral Era, the principle of using crystals to store and impart knowledge has been prevalent in Eorzea. An adornment known as a soul crystal is worn close to the skin, where the uncommonly clear facets of the carefully cut shard catch and transcribe the ebb and flow of this. Okay, I think I've reached. I'm also hunching it. If I can show you, this is where we're at right now. So, hello, me Harpy. I'm tucking my feet in so that you can't see my toes because I'm not wearing any socks, and that's for free, and we don't want that. So, as you never mind. So, all the way back here. Right? I'm like leaning over here, all scrunched up. China with the the tripod over here. We're all scrungled up like this. If I can like show you. I'm trying to like be close to the microphone and read the book. And maybe you can't see it very well, but the back is not having the best of times right now. But, oh, goodbye. We must suffer for our art. Man, I'm getting warm. It is said in the times before the umbral calamities that your mama was so fat she rivaled even the 3 great continents in size. Okay, chat. Whomever answers first, pick one of the following, and this will be what we read. Paladin, Monk, Warrior, Dragoon, Bard, Ninja, White Mage, Black Mage, Summoner, Scholar, Dark Knight, Machinist, or Astrologian. Astrologian, depending on how you pronounce it. And that will be our final page that we read, and we'll learn about together. Entirely up to you. And I'm going to stretch my back while we do that. Oh. Okay. We're going Dark Knight because nobody said anything. And that's my boy. So we're going to read about the Dark Knight. I don't know why you keep calling it Batman. Ooh, there's a lot to read here. The pious Ishgardian clergy guide the flock, and the devout knights protect the weak, yet even the holiest of men succumb to the darkness of... I cannot fucking see. The Dark Knight? Oh, okay. I'm not that big of a nerd. The pious Ishgardian clergy guide the flock, and the devout knights protect the weak, yet even the holiest of men succumb to the darkness of temptations. None dare to administer justice to those sacrosanct elite residing outside the reach of the law. Who, then, defends the feeble from the transgressions of those meant to guide and protect them? A valiant few take up arms to defend the downtrodden. Not even the holy priests and knights can escape their judgment. Pariahs in their own land, they are known by many as Dark Knights. I'm not that big of a nerd. Get told. I guess. I don't know. History. In the year 960 of the 6th Umbral Era, 6th Astral Era, I'll have you know, a commoner by the name of Trifaniel the Unshod, what a name, was granted knighthood for acts of valor upon the battlefield. A young man with an unwavering sense of justice, Trifaniel's desire to champion the cause of the lowborn was undiluted by his entrance into the privileged world of the nobility. It was this self-same moral fortitude that bid him trial after the clergyman, after witnessing the robed figure drag a squirming child from the alley of the broom. The knight's suspicions were confirmed when he entered the secluded domicile of that priest, only to find him committing unspeakable acts upon the boy of the abducted waif. I can't read. I'm struggling to read again. Noticing his unexpected visitor, the clergyman attempted to explain away his vile actions as a form of exorcism, but the incensed Trifaniel drew his sword without hesitation and answered the babbled excuses with a single fatal blow. Rather than praise his heroism, however, the knight's peers condemned him for slaying a holy member of the church. He was forced to defend his life in a trial by combat, but though he survived, it was decreed that he would be stripped of his knighthood. Unflinching in the face of accusations that he had fallen to darkness, Trifaniel roared that he would gladly surrender a title that required him to turn a blind eye to a child's suffering. He cast aside his crested shield and symbol of his station, and continued his crusade for the common folk with no thought of fear that from what others held taboo. His righteous deeds inspired some courageous few to embrace the path of the forbidden, and thus the legacy of the Dark Knight was born. Tricks of the trade. Let's read some tricks of the trade. Dark Force. I bet some of these won't even be in the game anymore at some point. Give it a couple of years. Give it a couple of fucking patches. Dark Force. By infusing a vast well of ether with her own inner darkness, the Dark Knight forms arcane barriers of impregnable midnight. The sight of liquid shadow pouring from a sky torn open by the otherwise benevolent technique is commonly described as unsettling. Hard slash, a sweeping slash followed by a punishing upward slice. The most fundamental attack in a Dark Knight's repertoire, this technique originated from a now antiqued style of a knightly combat. Unleash releases. Oh Christ, this is so edgy. Releasing his pain and rage upon nearby foes, the Dark Knight manifests an inky black circle of spikes onto the ground around him. All those caught in the thorns are struck with unreasoning terror and an irrepressible need to claw away at its source. And then Living Dead, the best tank buster, in my opinion. The dark art allows the practitioner to continue fighting through the most heinous injuries and exhibit an immunity to pain, usually attributed to the shambling undead. Though undeniably effective, abandoning one's corporeal form to negative energy in this manner, however briefly, is an act fraught with mortal peril. So they're so cool and so edgy, but that's all you get really out of these 2 pages. It's a very edgy tank class, one of which we already know about. Astrologians would be a great read. The Arcana here. Some of them are a lot more interesting to read lore-wise than playing. See the deck of 60, see? While a recent resurgence in Charlian Astrologian has increased the vitality of the major arcana, these 6 cards represent one, but a small portion of a much larger deck that has seen thousands of years of use, the deck of 60. While the origins of the deck are unclear, evidence of its use is apparent in almost every one of the astral eras. See, I knew there was I know somewhere. There is a... Somewhere. There is a Nothica. One of these, I'm sure. I'm sure of it. I'm positive of it. I know it's out there somewhere. They're lying to me. They are like, oh no, it's just a tree, but it's not. I've seen it somewhere in game, whether it's on a poster or what, but I've seen it. I've seen it. I know it. I know it to be true. I just cannot find it. Let me see if we can't find a very cool piece of artwork to show you. Oh, the dragons. Sketchy, this is good for you, considering you're in Heavenswood. Look at that. That art piece of all the dragons. You've got a bunch of different dragons going on. You've got some that you might recognize, some that you won't. Bahamut. Even got Vritra in there. That's very fascinating. Shiva. Monkey. Bobu. Sheep. We've got a little monster guide here in the back as well, which is very cool. Ooh. Let's go to the back. Oh no, that's just where the code is. Okay, so it just ends on monsters, and then it's just the back. And then the encyclopedia, here we go. Let's grab this, just in case. Just the credits at the back there. And then your little minion code. For a little rabbit, a little naming way, a loperate. There you go. Written by some of the internal team as well. Namingware is actually from FF4. As I believe just all the operates to begin with. Play a pretty small role anyway. When's the printing date for this? Published in the United States by Square Enix Books. Blah, 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 blah. First publication in Japan, 2016. English translation, 2016. Yeah, well, of course it would come out at the same time. And I believe this is the reprint from 2022. So, love this book. It's got, I think, some postage damage, but that's fine. What can you expect? I paid a discounted price for it on Amazon. But that is I was going to say a brief look, but it's not a brief look. That was a slightly longer look at Encyclopaedia Eorzea. We might do this again sometime. Just reading more Encyclopaedia Eorzea. In the future, another copy, another volume, maybe even an entirely different book. But I like it. I'm glad to have it. You can see the embossing of the book here. So it's a cool little book. Yeah, it's a bit of a hefty boy. You know, it's thick. He's a bit thick. He's a bit big. I love the style of the book. You know, it has that sort of leather-bound vibe to it. That's at least what the book is trying to give off. A tome of knowledge. Makes for a good weapon. Yeah. That's true. Yeah, that'll stop somebody for a moment. But there we go. Thank you for hanging out. That is all we're going to do for tonight. Yeah, little ASMRpy type thing. Whether it was any good, well, hey, that's up to you. Yeah, thanks for lurking. I appreciate you for coming by. We're gonna... Do I have stream ending? I don't have stream ending, but... How about we do this? Thank you, streamer. You're welcome. Hopefully it provided you some nice, soothing, like nearly 2 hours. Roughly. We'll do it again sometime. I'm not sure when. Just when the mood strikes me. Until then, chat. Have a wonderful night. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you on the next stream.